The ministry we'll be looking at today is one of my personal favorites at GospelCom.net. It's called the Christian History Institute. To start our tour, go ahead and open a web browser and we'll go to their homepage. The URL is chi.gospelcom.net. This will take us to the Christian History Institute website. As you can see, they've got a lot of cool features here. But before we start, what exactly is the Christian History Institute? Well, in short, it's a ministry dedicated to educating us all a bit more about church and Christian history. Most of us have picked up a bit of knowledge about church history at Sunday school or college, but for a lot of us, our knowledge has a lot of gaps in it, and a lot of what we know tends to be fairly negative. Well, the Christian History Institute wants to remind us that the Christian church has contributed a lot of very positive contributions to human history, to art, science, politics, literature, and much more. And so, where do we get started here on the Christian Institute site? Well, there's a lot of different features here, but the one that is one of my personal favorites, and I think the best reason to bookmark it and make it a daily read, is right here front and center. It's the Today in Church History feature. Let's go ahead and click on that. Each day, the Christian History Institute publishes a story about a person or an event in church history that happened on this day sometime in the past. As you can see, they take the form of a short but informative essay about a person or an event, and they're a great way to learn a bit of church trivia each day. One thing I really like about these daily stories is that they tend to focus on lesser known and more obscure parts of church history instead of just rehashing the most famous and most well-known names and faces. Let's pop back out to the homepage. Now, one of the biggest features here at the Christian History Institute site, and one of the focuses of their ministry, I think, is their Glimpses Bulletin. The archives of their Glimpses Bulletin are available here online. You can get to them over here on the right side of their page. Let's go over there and see what they are. Now, Glimpses Bulletins are regularly published little newsletters that go into some detail about an event or a person or a theme in church history. They're all available here online for you to read, as you can see, and they're sorted by week and by topic, and you can also sort through them by the date of the event to which they refer. Let's go ahead and look at one in particular. As you can see here, these are similar to the daily reports from church history. They're lengthy and informative essays about something that happened in church history. They cover all sorts of topics, from holidays and the origins of holidays to people and events. And they're all available to read for free online. If you prefer, you can listen to most of them in MP3 format. Over here on the left side of the page, you'll see if there's an MP3 version of that Glimpses edition available. If you're a church leader or pastor, you can also subscribe to the print edition of the Glimpses newsletter, which might be useful if you want to subscribe to it for your church, for instance. You can do that elsewhere on the Christian History Institute site. Back out here on the homepage, I wanted to show you that there's a special kids section on the Christian History Institute site. And in fact, they publish a special kids version of their Glimpses Bulletin. The Glimpses for Kids is available here on the right side of the page as well. And as you can see, it's similar in theme and purpose to the main Glimpses Bulletin, but it's obviously geared for a younger audience. Let's pop here to the main site to look at just one or two quick more features here. Two other neat features on the Christian History Institute site are the 100 Key Events in Church History and the Century by Century Tour. The 100 Key Events is a neat little piece of history trivia. They've divided up church history into 100 crucial events, and they've listed them all out here for you to peruse. As you can see, they're divided down into chunks of 25. And it's a useful exercise to go through and just walk through church history to see what the 100 most shaping events in church history were. Most of the people and places and events referenced in these little blurbs are available in Glimpses bulletins elsewhere on the site. Going back out to the main page, the other little feature I mentioned is the Century by Century Tour. This actually lets you walk through church history 100 years at a time, starting at the very beginning of the church 2,000 years ago. You can click on each century to get a quick summary of the major events that took place during that century that were important to the church, all the way from the 1st century to the 20th. So that was our quick tour of the Christian History Institute site. There's a lot more that I couldn't touch on here in our very brief tour, but I hope that you'll take a couple of minutes to browse around the Christian History Institute site yourself and see what else they have to offer. Have a nice day.